Hi there. Hi there. It's January of 2024. Where's time gone?
Yeah.
What is happening here? What is happening here? Hi, welcome everybody. My name is Tricia Broderick,
I'm Diana Larsen.
and we co-wrote Lead Without Blame. Now it's now been over a little bit of time now. We've
Almost
been
a year and a half since it was published.
since
Yeah.
it's published, since we've been working on it. It's been
Yeah.
it's 4
Oh,
years.
yeah. Yeah.
Like that's just
Sure.
crazy. Like that's where I'm like, time seems so. I know a lot of people say things like pre-COVID, post-COVID, and time and
Right.
things like that, but
Yeah.
it all just feels
Yeah.
insanely fast for me now.
Right.
But we're coming together once a month to become one, truthfully, because we just miss each other. Two, because there was also just so many topics and we can dig into them in different ways that were in the book and that we almost put in the book or that we extend off of what's in the book. And so we thought we'll just keep picking topics once a month, come together and chat a little bit. And as you have comments or questions and stuff, go ahead and put them in. We should see them, but if we don't, we'll say it will be a little delayed as it's happening or whatnot. But this month's topic is goal setting because it's the new year. Seems, I mean, although some companies have it on different schedules and stuff, but it's the new year. People all talk about resolutions and things like that, but goal setting and stuff. So when I say goal setting, what comes up for you? Like how do you define goal setting?
Well, I define it kind of loosely. I'm not a rigid goal setter, but I do think about my intentions and where is it I want to put. I had a office mate one time who talked about making sure your intentions were aligned with your attentions.
Oh,
Like what you
that's
intend to
catchy.
happen, are you lining that up with what you are, where you're putting your energy, right? Those two things need to be going together. And so, so for me, in my life, that's how I handle my goal setting. I think about the intentions that I'd like to set for myself, and in the in the lead without blame sense, I think about like the 4 C's of leadership. Do I intend to have more courage? Do I intend to have more compassion, or show more confidence in the people I'm working with, or whatever that might be, and then make sure that I'm putting energy into fulfilling that intention. And so for me, that's really the ideas around goal setting.
Yeah.
And it's and then sharing whatever that is with other folks helps me fulfill it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the attention and intention dynamic because for mine it's loose. I always get super annoyed when people are like, "Well, I set a goal, I read a book." I'm like, "Great, you passed kindergarten." Like it's why are you reading the book? What are you going to do with the book? Like I always got I understand the purpose of like the SMART goal, right? Specific, measurable thing, but I get so frustrated because it becomes then just about the check mark. And sometimes some of my best goal setting I haven't actually gotten my check mark, but the learning that's been happening, the where I'm putting my attention, what I'm focusing in on, new surprises, new information, that the goal wasn't actually the most important thing. It was the journey towards the goal. So I really like highlighting that. I get the benefit of like the SMART goal and the dynamic, but I think it makes it so that we do things like read a book and like attend one meeting. Like who cares? Why? Like it's just it reminds me of like those playground dumb rules that we shouldn't just even have to say. Like I'm hoping you're reading a book, right? And things like that. So when I think of goal setting, I also have kind of a loose of like, where do you want to learn? Where do you want to invest? And that's how I've always kind of like, where are you investing? So I really like, we should almost put that tag, like who do you attribute it to the person, right? But like I really like I like that because that's what it's like, where do I want to invest?
Yeah. She had a nifty little graphic that she made that had about intention, aligning with attention, and she had the alignment thing happening.
Oh,
And that
perfect. I
was
love
great.
it. I
Her
love it.
name was Marianne Morningstar, by the way.
Well,
So
shout out. I'm
Marianne
a
Morningstar.
fan now.
Yeah, yeah. She was one of my significant mentors in my life. Yeah.
That's awesome.
She is also the person, which is related here to this goal setting conversation. She is also the person who drilled into me in the most gentle, compassionate way, ask for help. You deserve to get help from other people. Ask for help when you need it. And so when I set an intention, and part of putting my attention on it and getting those alignment is to ask for help from other people to accomplish my intention. And so she was a wonderful mentor, and
I'm wondering if
I learned
did
a
you
lot
get
from
your
her.
compassionate but yet very like able to like poke thing from her, like because you're
Right.
like a pro at that. Like like you have the calmest WTF delivery I have ever like met. Like it's just like it's compassionate, it's calm, it's but yet you're also looking like when I ever experience it, I'm always like, yeah, I could do better. Like and immediately like I feel that way, right?
Yeah.
So did you get some of that from her?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. She didn't suffer fools for sure, so she was, yeah.
Well, perfect. We have a question that builds on this for a second. Hey, Brian, should we employ the 5 whys? I do like this. I also am going to add to this a little bit. One of the things that I do with goal setting when I'm setting my goals is not only the intention and going into the 5 whys, but I will actually ask what's the risk? Like what's, because sometimes, especially like with a resolution, not just a goal setting, we'll talk ourselves out or do different things. So I actually go through the experience of not just why, but also what might happen. Like, what's the risk if I do this? What am I giving up? What am I having to pull back? So that I actually go into it fully understanding the landscape a little bit, not just of why I want to do it, but what's that impact going to be from it. And I find that I'm able to set better goals when I see the bigger picture, if that makes sense. So both the 5 whys is a cool technique, but I also do what's the risk?
Yeah. Almost more than sort of more transitional goal setting, like here's the next thing I want to have happen in my life or that sort of thing. It's interesting that you bring up the 5 whys, Brian, because I was just having a conversation last night with a young man who is early in his career and just left a toxic workplace and has been interviewing for another job, but wasn't really clear about what he wanted to create in his life. And we were talking about my experience of using the 5 whys to sort of discover my kind of overarching purpose in life. And, thinking about a thing that felt really satisfying. Well, why did that feel so satisfying? And why did it seem important to you to do that?
And building goals off of that. So you've got
building goals off of that 5 whys. And that really has guided my whole career, that kind of personal inquiry. And then that, that then sort of supports the more interim goal setting that I do. It's like, I want to have this impact in the world. I'm not going to go down that road right now with what all that is, but then wherever I find myself now, if I need to set some goals, it needs to be in alignment with that as well, right? And so, we talked earlier about, I set a goal last fall about spending more time in Europe, and here I am. I'm not exactly in Europe. I'm in Dublin, but I'm close to Europe, and I've been there a couple times since. But I shared that with people so that other folks could help me with my intention. And I know it's in alignment with my larger goal of the impact that I want to have through my career activities.
And where you want to be.
Yeah. And so it is really, it's rolling out now. And the 5 whys are in there. So that was a good call, Brian.
But I think part of that is the transparency of that goal. Like it isn't, I think we set so many goals and even workplace goals, right? Like even that it's not it's one thing to be transparent. It's one thing, but it's more to ask for that help
Right.
because the reality is usually it isn't just a one person. Like even my handstand goal setting thing, I've been asking for help. Like, right.
Yeah.
Even though nobody else can do that for me, right? I'm still asking for help. I'm still doing things. And in some ways, it's not even whether they can help me in a content base, it's the support help.
Yeah.
It's the encouragement help. It's the having somebody going, oh, that's very inspiring. Oh, and okay, I didn't hit it in 2023. I'm going again in 2025. I'm going to keep going. Right. And so by being transparent, you're not just getting help in making it happen, you're getting support as well for that momentum of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think another piece of this that we haven't sort of touched on yet is you can't have a bajillion goals. You know, I limit myself to sort of one or two pretty big ones at a time. A lot of other things I will say, no more than 5, use this mnemonic device at the end of your arm, to remember. But 5 is too many goals to have at any given time. You really need to be able to focus. And I remember reading a story one time about somebody who had like this list of 45 goals. And I was just like, it's like, 45 items in the backlog. How do you prioritize? Right? How do you find the right priority in that list? And how do you give the goal you really want to accomplish enough attention? Well, there can't be too many of them. Otherwise, your attention becomes split and you don't get any of them done.
So I'm going to piggyback off that because I find I do less, but not so much from an intention thing. There's truth to that, but I actually do less because I find that it gives me room to change. Yeah. So what I mean by this is like, I had the goal to start my own, I wanted to do it. I wanted to stop avoiding the things I've been avoiding, and start Ignite and own it myself and see what that meant. And whether or not I stayed independent or individual versus I love working with people so much, right? Was kind of like on my radar, but that was my top goal. Could I do this on my own? Right. But right as I was deciding to do that, this book opportunity came with you and I, right. And there's an element of by me having fewer goals, I was able to go, okay, how does this book tie into that goal? Can this new opportunity that's presenting align with this existing goal that I have? And I could see the opportunities more. I could see the alignment because it wasn't so overwhelming for me. And it ended up, you gave me collaboration for a very long time where I didn't have to worry about being independent. Right. But like by being focused to some degree, it allowed me to visually see new opportunities that if I'm heads down, I'm trying to get those check marks, I'm not going to spot. I'm not going to see it right in front of me. That would have helped. And in some ways was the best thing to help me as I was going through with things. And I find that the less I'm focused on, the more I can spot that. So in some weird way, it's like I am adding to it, but I'm adding to a line and I can see it because it's less for me.
Yeah. I think of it a lot as if I know my intention, I'm better able to see the doors of opportunity that open that are going to help me achieve it. Right. And so, and then, then that sorting can happen. Maybe 4 opportunities show up. Which one is going to be the one that's going to help me most with my attention, with achieving my intention and achieving my goal? And then that helps me in the decision-making process about where am I putting my energy and what do I need to say yes to? And what do I need to say no, not ever to? And what do I need to say no, not yet to? That there may be a door I want to leave open as long as I can, like sort of real options, right? There's some decisions you don't want to make before they absolutely have to be made. But at the same time, you want to be able to grab the opportunities when
they present, like you don't always have that.
Yeah.
I mentioned this earlier, I was starting to mention this earlier, but I want to piggyback on it more is because I love me a check mark. Like I I I will make list of lists just for the check mark. Like I am that person. And I've had to really mentally do some adjustments away from that SMART approach, away from the goal is only if I achieve it, right? To the goal is actually the journey of learning. The goal is actually just, what does this open it up? When I say I want to do more keynotes, what opens up from that? It isn't a matter of me having how many keynotes did I do, or how many, like, right? Or like, that wasn't the check mark. Like the check mark was the journey of learning about handstands, not whether or not I can do a 10-second one. And I've had to really adjust so that I don't miss out on the value in the journey.
Yeah.
Because I will get so focused on that check mark that I will ignore everything in between that was providing me tons of value. Even if I never get to that end result, it was totally worth it, right? And so I've had to do a lot of work to adjust my goal setting to journey setting, like to goal journeys instead of end result, achieve or not, like success or not. Like, because if you had asked me 10 years ago what I'd be doing today, I wouldn't have said that. Like I would have probably said I was continuing in as a practitioner, the director of development, VP maybe at that point. Like I would not have been saying I wrote a book, like, because that was never on a goal list of mine, right? To originally. So it's me having to adjust what that success with goals is. From not just the end result, but the journey within it. And it's not been easy for me to do that because of my need for check marks. But it's something I'm spending actually more time even speaking about the journey parts instead of the end result parts.
Right. And I think, it's some of it is, there's the openness to not everything is going to be in our control. The kinds of opportunities we get, the kinds of learning we discover we need to do, things like that along the way, we've got to stay open to those things. And so a goal that is too specific and too rigid, it's sort of like you were talking about keynotes. When I thought about, well, if I want to spend more time in Europe, how would I do that? Well, keynotes would be a way. Well, if I only drilled down on, I've got to do more keynotes in Europe, I would miss a whole lot of other opportunities, which is one of the reasons I'm here right now in Dublin, because this isn't exactly a keynote. So if I define it too narrowly, but if I define it more broadly about what's the broader thing I'm trying to achieve here through maybe keynotes or through maybe
that's a means, right?
Yeah, those are just the means. And so what is the end result that I'm trying to, the broad end result that I'm trying to achieve? Yeah.
I will say the other thing that check marks get me in trouble for when it comes to goal setting, as much as I won't go down to the playground ones, I won't be as audacious as I sometimes should be. Either, right? Like, I won't go down to levels of read a book, but I won't say grow my company yet, right? Like, and because that's where the imposter syndrome will come out a little bit more in me, where and that's where I have to do the what's the risk to really get myself to look at those more audacious ones, or in my mind are more audacious, but probably are not. But I think at least for myself that has some imposter syndrome, I will hold myself back on the goals, not for the check mark, but because it seems a little scary, right? Or it seems too far reaching. We always hear about taking steps towards a bigger goal and things like that. And there is value in that. But if it's not meaningful, like we talk about in our book, like meaningful purpose, like it's got to be meaningful. And I think sometimes those audacious ones, like your impact on the world, are the ones that are meaningful. And I will scale back on those because they seem the pressure, like, and the imposter in me will come in. So that's where I also find, even if you are setting goals for myself, like my conversations with you, I will take it up a notch in my goals, right? Like I remember Gilbro's when COVID first hit. I think I said we were chatting about something. We had already hit scheduled time. We were chatting, and I said something like, "I'll work at McDonald's if I have to," right? Like I was in that panic spiral of COVID, and Gil goes, "No, you won't." like he's like, "No, like this is not your skill level, right?" Like, and
Right.
but I was in, and so having those people that will challenge you in what your goals are, challenge you in where you're at, so that these audacious ones aren't as audacious as you fear that they are.
Right. Right. Well, and the thing earlier I said about asking for help, that my intention my big goal that I'm working on right now, I only got to because I wasn't really clear. And so I had a conversation with someone whose opinion I trust. And I said, it seems like I could go do this, or I could go do this, or I could go do this, but I can't do all of those things, or I won't achieve any of them. And so, I'm just trying to figure out, where to focus right now. And he said, well, as I observe you talking about those things, here's the one that lights you up. I couldn't see that for myself, but he could see that. And he would say, this one, when your face says you think it's drudgery, and this other one doesn't.
But it's the right thing to do. That's the goal I'm supposed to have, right?
Right. And so it maybe was a little easier path, right? I could see a path there on that one, but he said you're not lit up about it. And he said, go for the thing that's really gonna make a difference for you as well as whomever else, right? And so that was really good advice. And I could not have seen that for myself. But once he was able to help me see it, then I could really embrace it. And so I think that's another important piece of, helping people help us, support us in our journeys. Yeah.
And are deciding our goals and what we want to do with those things. And sometimes that help takes years. Like people were helping me with that book for years before I could actually get there. Right. And so even I loved your statement earlier is not yet. Right. So go ahead and explore the goal, even if you don't decide to do it right now, because it might come back later. Right. And I probably do that more. But I'm lucky in that I do feel a lot of privilege in that I have gotten a lot of doors opened and opportunities to where I can make some choices with those things. And I'm grateful for that. And one of my goals is actually trying to help continue to pay that forward. I mean, I guess I've been doing that, but I want to level it up even more and doing that. And so that's one of my goals going into next year with things.
Yeah.
Or this year, next year.
Nice. Well, I hope everybody who watches this has some real juicy goal that you're going after.
Some meaningful goal for you.
Meaningful goal for you, and that you're able to put your attention and energy toward achieving it. And hope you find the right people to ask for help. Yeah.
So we mentioned you're in Dublin and stuff, but what do you got? What do you got coming up? Where are you? Where can people find you?
Well, I am in Dublin because I'm a part of something that Miro, the whiteboard folks, are sponsoring, called the Agile City Tour. And so on the 30th, I will be at the Miro Agile City Tour event in London. And then on February 1st, I'll be at the one in Manchester. So this is going to be a fun time. I'm hoping to maybe connect with some of my London colleagues while I'm there this coming week. And then my next big events are going to be at the end of March, when it's Agile Open Northwest, which is my beloved conference. And before that, Quentin Cortell and I and Per Benning are going to do a 2-day fast workshop, sort of so that people can bundle it with Agile Open Northwest or do either of them separately, of course. But I'm pretty excited about that because I'm pretty excited about the ideas around fast and sharing those with more people. So
Awesome. Awesome. I am in Cape Town, South Africa at the end of February for their Scrum gathering. I am the keynote. I'm so excited. I'm already making a pack list, partially for my check marks, but I am already making my pack list with it. So I'm super excited. So if you're going to be there, please find me, please chat. I will also, the other conference that I know I'm going to be at right now is Craft in Budapest in May. And so I've never been there, so I'm super excited to engage with that community. And I don't have my next upcoming classes publicly are not till April. I just have a lot of client work coming up right now. So my next facilitation, like how do you get teams to make decisions where you're not having to just decide for them, is in April, as well as the leadership class that I do with Jake on learning some coaching skills for leaders. Both of them are virtually in April, but not till April. And that's like my next thing. That said, as the president of Agile Denver, we have a holiday happy hour so any Denver peeps on here right now, join me and others on January 24th at Brighter. And you can find that on the meetup to RSVP.
Right. I should also say that for the London and Manchester events, while my talk is about retrospectives and the retrospective second edition book is coming out very, very soon, I'm actually giving away 2 Lead Without Blame books at each event. So if people want to get their hands on a copy or see a copy before I give it to somebody else, I will have in real life copies with me at those.
I'm trying to think of how I'm going to cart how many books to South Africa with me. Like like I'm trying to figure it out. With it.
We should talk about that before.
You got some advice? Okay, good.
Yeah. I have some tips and hints. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. But otherwise, I think we have set our February date. Our February date that we will be on is February 9th. So we'll be going live February 9th, a little bit later than today, but that will be our next live. So shoot us emails, shoot us connections, let us know if we can do anything.
My blur hand. Yeah. Bye all.